those of you living under a rock and you're not terminally online like I am, just watching Reddit and Twitter and Discord like some sort of goblin, you might have missed the fact that some Secret Lairs came out. Or at least you may have thought, oh, I'll catch them a bit later. Maybe the email came through to your inbox and you're going to pick up the Monty Python Secret Lair at a later time or later date. Well, tough. Get f***ed, scrub, because they're out of stock already. They sold out really fast. The exact times and when they sold out is a little bit foggy because different people are giving different accounts. I saw somebody say that it actually took less time than the run time of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which is 1 hour and 31 minutes. But actually, British people were saying that it was gone within 2 hours, Americans were saying 4, Australians on Reddit were saying that they woke up and it was sold out. So whilst I think Europe and America have different amounts of distribution, there's like a different pool of distribution, God knows what's happening with Australia. All I know is that no one cares about Australia. Poor Australia. At least they still print in your language, I guess, right? I know that sounds like I'm really making light of the issue, but it's just an observation, or a bit of observational comedy perhaps, that Wizards of the Coast really do need to start caring a bit more about outside of North America and perhaps arguably Europe, although we get left behind quite a bit too. So it sold out almost immediately, which is a problem. But the bigger problem is that it got scalped pretty hard. Shout out to Twitter user and community member Lotus, who pointed out that they were sold out and up on eBay being scalped within 2 hours. Now, I think these are the ones that people got from the SDCC, the San Diego Comic-Con, but it still doesn't change the fact that they are sold out, no one can get them, and now they're up on eBay for almost 5 times the price. That is still scalping at the end of the day, regardless of whether they picked up at an event like a pre-access thing, given out as spot prizes or bought from a prize wall or a vendor or whatever the methodology that Wizards did to get these into people's hands at the Comic-Con. I'm not against there being some early access stuff at Comic-Cons and similar, especially when it's like random like this or unannounced. It kind of just creates buzz. Absolutely fine. And I'm also fine with things like that from events going up and selling for more money. I guess the issue I take is when people just generally want to buy a cool new thing and it just goes out of stock immediately because Wizards of the Coast want you to suffer from FOMO, and then it's scalped at 5 times the price on eBay immediately after. It just sucks, really. It just sucks hard. So let's unpack that, shall we? And if you're looking to buy a single product or sealed product, go to coolstuffinc.com, use the link in the description below, get 5% off your order, and it helps to support the show when you buy stuff from them. So it looks like Wizards had a clear case of just not knowing how much these things would be in demand. They had no idea that these would sell out so quickly. They obviously didn't print enough. To fill you all in on where Secret Lair is at the moment, Secret Lair used to be a print-to-demand service. It's one of the biggest positives about the product line. Essentially, you logged on, you tried to buy your Secret Lair, there was rarely a queue, you'd buy the item, and it'd probably show up in your inbox, I guess conservatively 3 months later, as they printed them and sent them out across the world. And there were complaints about how long it took for them to come through, but if I'm honest, those complaints were never something that I took much stock in. I never did a video about it. I made quips about it here and there because it's funny to poke fun at the billion-dollar corporation, right? But ultimately, it just wasn't much of an issue that people cared about. Then Wizards of the Coast did this marvelous thing where they decided to stop the wait by making it print and then sell until it sells out. So it's no longer print to demand. It is print and allocation and see where we go. This was immediately met with Secret Lairs selling out like that. People are waiting in queues to get in, people are buying them up and then sticking them straight up on eBay. The scalping problem is something you see with Games Workshop a lot over on the Warhammer side of the tabletop world, something that I'm pretty into. They'll have limited edition books come out, people will queue online, get them and immediately stick them up on eBay. Happens with limited edition box sets as well. Scalping is a big problem that GW still haven't found a true solution for. It's got better over time, just printing more of the stuff, but ultimately, is this a thing that Wizards want? Of course, the idea is that they want to sell as much product as possible because it makes money. The overhead on printing Secret Lairs is huge, right? They're printing 3 to 5 bits of cardboard and a bit of packaging and selling it to you for $30 or $40, depending on whether you're buying foil or non-foil. The overhead is massive. But on the flip side, when you sell out regularly, it does make your brand look good to investors, to people looking from the outside looking in, because you can make this narrative of look how in high demand we are. It gets even like Joe blogs on the street, your average normie thinking similar stuff when they hear about it, because we've all heard people tell us how hot Pokemon was during the pandemic, right? Your grandmother can mention about Pokemon cards and their supply and demand issues during the pandemic because they've seen it on the news. This isn't going to show up in the news, of course. Fox News aren't going to report on this in between sniffing Trump's farts, but my point is there's a positive buzz that comes with, at least from an outside looking in, things selling out really quickly. It makes your brand look highly desirable, and Wizards of the Coast are dependent upon Magic looking highly desirable and being exciting for both both consumers and the shareholders with shares in Hasbro. Don't forget, it's a load-bearing poll as such. Without Magic the Gathering and D&D to a lesser extent, Wizards of the Coast and therefore Hasbro would be struggling bad. Magic is the golden goose. And on top of all that, it kind of guarantees you will sell as well. People who were considering not buying or holding off, like me, may not do that when FOMO is involved. I've talked about FOMO a lot on the channel, but if you're tuning in for the first time or you're not really familiar with the term, it's the term fear of missing out. The fear of missing out leads you to go online and buy it at the first point of call. There's no hesitation on purchasing because you know you won't be able to get it later. And thus, you get some of that positive buzz of things being hotly in demand because people will just part with their money without really thinking about it. Now, I'm not wholly and hugely against all limited edition stuff. I get that is just a thing that corporations and capitalism leads to because it's a good way to sell stuff. I'm not 100% against it. However, in this circumstance where we've had such a better product model in the past, the idea of printing to demand, I just can't get behind this switch and this transition. One of the pro arguments for all of this is making Secret Lairs more desirable and exciting and making them limited print run. That means that these cards will be sought after and demand a higher price tag. However, that doesn't necessarily really work the way you think it does, or isn't necessarily needed, shall I say. One example I grabbed of the list of the most expensive cards in the Secret Lairs right now is Thassa's Oracle. Thassa's Oracle was just in a print-to-demand, really cool art set of Secret Lairs. I actually bought this one. I don't buy that many Secret Lairs, but I bought this one because I really like the art style. I love the neon purples against the teals and the turquoise. Gorgeous stuff. Funny, really, because I fucking hate Thassa's Oracle as a Magic card. This Thassa's Oracle is $80. Rick, Steadfast Leader, it's like $50. Like, there are cards from the non-print-to-demand set that do demand a price tag when they're desirable cards. So I guess the argument is that when you print good cards into the Secret Lairs, people will want good cards with cool art. I mean, profound idea, right? Are we really trying to make as much chaff as possible premium collectible stuff just simply because we're going to make it really hard to get hold of? Ultimately, I don't dislike the idea that the stuff that is hard to get hold of is reprints. In the case of the Monty Python Secret Lairs, there's no mechanically unique cards. These are all reprints of cards, half of them not really that desirable, but you're not being locked away from a game piece. On the upside, thus far, we haven't seen any limited supply Secret Lairs with mechanically unique stuff in them yet, to my knowledge, or to my brief having a look before this video. I did think the 14th Doctor and the Doctor Who Secret Lair was one of these, but I think it was printed to demand before Christmas. But I mean, this card is $51. It's a mechanically unique card that was in a Secret Lair that was printed to demand, and it's also a difficult card for them to reprint because of the Time Lord Doctor baggage, because it's hard for them to kind of put that on a new card. It's difficult to understand exactly how it fits in with like the contracts with Doctor Who. People will tell me in the comments they can or can't reprint it. It's just not really all that clear until we finally get the reprint as to how they can do it. The reason I bring it up, and the point I'm getting to though, is that the 14th Doctor is $50 and is print to demand. Imagine this was a limited print one for Doctor Who collectors and such, but it didn't have like a mechanically unique card demanding a high price tag because of this. And it's only a matter of time until we get mechanically unique tie-ins in the Secret Lairs again, and they will be now limited supply as well, which is bad. But the real crux of my distaste for it all is that we had such a better system before. The Secret Lairs were never perfect. Arguments around worth, paying $30 or $40 for 5 basic lands, for example, always felt like a big cop-out. Or buying 5 cards that didn't come to $30 in the secondary market was always a sticking point for some people. I always saw them as like a cosmetic upgrade that I quite liked because I didn't need it. It was just an alternative art or style or frame and some really zany stuff for the things that I already liked or played. It's also a good place for them to put the zanier, weirder stuff. It's far less egregious when I can't fucking read a card when it's from a Secret Lair than when it comes in a booster pack that a new player might open and have no idea what the card does. It gives a bit more space for experimentation in that regard. We've had a card that peeled off to become like a from planes to a dual land, if I remember correctly, in the I'll put it on screen now when I look up the name of it. It was the one with Blood Moon in it. There's a lot of cool stuff they did in Secret Lairs you don't tend to get in packs. All for it. But a lot of that goodwill for me is lost when it becomes this FOMO product for people who get in quickly within the first couple of hours. People have to get up early or log on during work hours, or like the fact that Australians saying they got up at like 5 o'clock and it was already gone is insane to me. The easiest solution for them is, if they want to do the fast rollout, is to limited print a section of them, you know, like 15,000 copies. That's the ones that go out immediately, and then they have print to demand for the excess, or they put it on print to demand a week later, or whatever. But that won't do the FOMO marketing that they want. It also won't create the buzz of "we sold out" that they can use as a talking point about Magic the Gathering. I was and ahhing about getting it as a fan of Monty Python and British comedy, and I even said on my Discord, "Oh, I'm not sure if I'm convinced yet," and it was sold out. It's not even jokes. Too late, mate. It's sold out. Well, I was thinking about getting it, which is wild to me. And it makes me want to just engage with Secret Lairs a whole lot less if basically it's just not a product for me unless I buy it right at the first moment if it's going to be popular. I hate that. If you want to make your voice heard, there is a feedback and complaint form for the Secret Lair project that I'll put in the description below that people have been sharing around on Reddit. I'm not looking to use it to spam them or such, but I think having our voices heard in a constructive way is good. So whether you bought it or not, if you have feelings that this is not the way to go, perhaps express them to the company. And maybe, just maybe, we'll get some positive change around the way in which the company engages with us, the audience, the people that want to give them money for trading cards. I've been Vince, also known as PleasantKenobi on the internet. I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.